Hello and happy Sunday to all of my lovely friends out there. Hopefully you guys are lined up with a nice, smoking selection for your Sunday. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in for my weekly top 5 cigars. This week, I've chosen 5 cigars that are perfect morning cigars. So top 5 morning cigars / top 5 coffee friendly cigars. And the reason I keep emphasizing the coffee pairing, aside from the fact that I now have coffee to offer all of you again on Tassa's coffeebydelicia.com, is because I just went to an event last week, and I did meet a few people that said that they had never had a cigar with coffee. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm starting to find, and as I read through the comments, I'm noticing that there are a handful of you out there that still have not tried coffee with your cigars. So this is kind of like, in Spanish we would say a fuerzas, but like, this is like you have to try a coffee and a cigar. This is like my challenge to you. I did this already before, and I don't know if I got all of you in there. I know a lot of you already pair your coffee with a good cigar, or vice versa, whatever. But so for those of you who already do that, thank you. And here's some different cigars that maybe you haven't tried pairing with your coffee, but especially in the morning. And for those of you who never tried it, again, I invite you, I almost give you the challenge of going out there and trying something different. So starting with number 5, we have a kind of a classic one. This is the Oliva Serie Melania. Great stick. Has a nice Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan jalapa condega and esteli on the filler. So you get the chocolatey, creamy, you actually get a creamy coffee from the cigar itself. So again, it goes very nice with your morning coffee, especially if you're somebody that does, a half and half creamer, something like that. Even if you do like a cappuccino, anything that has, some sort of a cream, so like lattes, anything like that, would go very nicely with the Oliva Serie Melania. You also pick up a little bit of like an earthy notation, toasted bread kind of picks up in the little mixture of notes in there. So definitely a nice pairing. I'm actually drinking a kind of like a cappuccino ish. I've been playing with that. It's not my go-to, but I have an espresso fancy machine that I got, and so I've been frothing the milk a little bit on there and just kind of playing around. My latte art is not on point at all yet, but I'm working on it. But I'm doing the Jefe blend espresso, and I did a little bit of a little foofiness on top there. So that's what I'm drinking. Anyways, moving on to number 4, we have a cigar that was actually blended for the purpose of smoking it with your coffee. That's the Joya Cabinetta. I have had it on my list before. It has been around for quite some time. It was actually one of those cigars that when Joya, from my understanding, when Joya released this cigar, it was kind of like to show the softer side, I guess you could say, because prior to that, they were doing the Antaño, they were kind of putting those bolder cigars out there and making a name for themselves, being known as more of a bolder offering. So the Cabinetta is kind of the flip side of that, and it's more of a milder cigar, again, done with the intention of having it in the morning, having it with a cup of coffee, because that's just the best way to do it. So the Cabinetta actually has a dual wrapper. So it has an Ecuadorian shade and a Nicaraguan Criollo on the wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler. It's very nutty, it's very creamy, it has cinnamon, it has earth. It's, again, mild to medium on the body, and it's definitely one that you should have in your humidor, preferably a lancero version. If you are a lancero person, that does come in a lancero, because again, naturally you would want to put that lancero cabinetta with your nice cup of coffee. So yeah, that's definitely on the list there. Hopefully you guys have tried it already. Sorry, I'm puffing so that this cigar doesn't go out. It's a little bit of a tighter draw this time for some reason, first time ever. Going on to number 3, we have the beautiful Southern Draw Rose of Sharon. I have mentioned this one as being a nice morning stick because it is again, a milder offering, not mild on the cigar, but a milder offering in comparison to the rest of the Southern Draw lineup, which is typically medium to full, and so forth. So the Rose of Sharon, and again offered in a beautiful box press lancero, beautiful pigtail, exquisite construction, is very nice. It does come in some other vitola, so if you're not a lancero person, that's okay. I won't hold it against you, but definitely, again, challenge yourself if you've never smoked a lancero. Try one out. Love to hear the feedback. And I know I've got some of you guys already converted into my little team lancero because, again, once you try it, it's like, all right, I get it now. But definitely the Rose of Sharon. It's a beautiful stick made, again, by Southern Draw. This one has a nice Ecuadorian shade wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan and Dominican on the filler. It's made at the infamous AJ Fernandez factory, as are all of the Southern Draw cigars. This one has a nice creamy, nutty, kind of a little bit of a berry, fruity, little subtle berry, not a lot of the berry fruitness, but a little bit of a berry background, a hint of a very muted red pepper. So again, the red pepper is very, very subtle. It's not a strong, spicy cigar. It's definitely, again, very safe for the morning time, especially with the cup of coffee. In particular, because of those subtle berry notes, if you have, of course, I'm going to plug my own. I have the Hopping Goat. It's a Yirgacheffe. It's from Ethiopia. But if you have, an Ethiopian coffee out there, those brighter notes go really nicely with this one. Because you can also, it's funny, you can also take this into your brunch, if you will, and do like a white wine with this cigar. So it's not just coffee alone that you can do if you're in like a mimosa person or somebody that does, that kind of thing for their Sunday brunch, perhaps. This is a nice cigar for both of those options. You're going to pick up different types of emphasis, I guess, in those notes that I mentioned, depending on if you put it with a coffee or if you put it with like a white wine or even a champagne. But I've done both. I've done the white wine with it, and I've done, obviously coffee with it, and I still lean towards the coffee, but whatever you're feeling for your Sunday. Moving on to number 2, we have the Micallef Grande Bold Sumatra. I've put it in there before. I've said it, in fact, during a review. I've mentioned that this is like a coffee lover's best friend because it just goes really nice with coffee. It can stand up to an espresso. I've had it with a variety of the coffees out there. It just goes really nicely. And pretty much like, here's a little secret tip. If you're in the humidor and you're just like, okay, I want to try this whole coffee thing and none of these cigars are in there. If there's anything that has a Sumatra wrapper, pretty safe bet that it's going to go nicely with coffee. So I could say that about a couple different others, but I will say especially Sumatra wrappers or a Sumatra binder. But really, if you want to get a little bit more of that oomph from it, you definitely want to search for something that has a nice Sumatra. But this is certainly a go-to for myself personally. I love the Sumatra with coffee in the morning. It is like such a treat. So I know those of you who are watching that are also Micallef ambassadors. If you're on the Facebook group, you could definitely post your Sumatra and coffee pictures, show some love that way, because again, it's certainly a wonderful pairing. And number 1 this week is going out to this beautiful lancero. I was in a lancero mood this week. So this is the Illusione H1, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lancero. This is actually, again, a milder offering. In fact, I think off the top of my head, I want to say this is like the most mild cigar that Illusione puts out, and it's really flavorful. Mild in the sense that it's not strength-wise, it's not as strong. The flavors are a little more subtle, and it's really, really enjoyable, again, especially in the morning. All of these cigars, already said it several times, in the morning with your coffee, Can't go wrong. So Illusione, beautiful stick. This one is a Nicaraguan Café Colorado wrapper. Of course, Nicaraguan and binder. You're getting like vanilla notes, a little bit of coffee, you know, naturally by itself. You do pick up a little bit of like a cinnamon and nutmeg spice. You get a light cedar. You pick up a little bit of like a chocolate background, but really, really nice. And certainly a cigar that hopefully you can find it. And most likely if you do find it in a local brick and mortar, it's gonna have some age and you'll be able to see that on the cellophane. So definitely a great lineup for your week of smoking. I'd love, love, love to hear your feedback. So make sure you tag me on any of your posts on Instagram, Facebook. Post your comments below. I love reading through them. You guys are great. Thanks for the constant support and thanks for tuning in for some of your Sunday. And I can't wait to see you guys soon. Cheers.